Alright everyone, and here's my review of the brand new TTArtisan AF 23mm f1.8 lens. It'll be available for Fujifilm X, Sony E and Nikon Z mount mirrorless cameras. I'll be testing a Fuji version today, and its price will only be $127 or £110 here in the UK, which is potentially an amazing bargain. I'd like to thank TTArtisan very much for sending me one of these lenses for testing, although as usual, this is a totally independent review. It's an autofocus lens that offers an APS-C image circle only, so it's the full frame equivalent of about 35mm, giving you a lovely, moderately wide field of view, getting you the bigger picture, but with that maximum aperture of f1.8, it can still offer you noticeably out of focus backgrounds as well. Even if the lens turns out to be a bit soft, it could still potentially get some nice images for you. The lens is small and lightweight at only 210 grams or less than half a pound. The lens's body is made of metal and feels pretty tough, and it's based on a metal lens mount without any weather sealing. The lens's rear cap has a USB-C port built in, so you can update firmware that way, so don't lose that rear cap. As you can see, it's a dead simple lens, with its only control point being a metallic manual focus ring. You have to switch between auto and manual focus modes in your camera's menu. That focus ring turns very smoothly, and the focus motor responds to it well enough. Here you can see that the lens suffers from moderately strong focus breathing, zooming in as you focus more closely to your subject. The lens's autofocus system is quiet and runs at an average speed, and it's quite accurate too. This is actually one of the best autofocus motors I've yet seen in a TTArtisan lens. The lens comes with a rather narrow plastic hood, which can be reverse mounted. The lens's front filter size is 52mm, and it does not feature image stabilization. Overall, the build quality is absolutely fine here. In fact, considering the lens's rock bottom price, it's actually very good. So, on to image quality. I don't have access to a Fujifilm X-T3 camera today, so I'll be testing it on my older 26MP X-T3 instead. In-camera corrections should be happening in these images. At f1.8, the middle of the image sees lots of sharpness and contrast right away, so that's encouraging. Corner image quality is very soft though. At f2.8, there's a touch more brightness and contrast, but they're still very soft. Even at f4 and f5.6, there aren't any further improvements. It's only at f8 and f11 that we're getting a usable image in those corners, and f16 just gets softer due to the effect of diffraction. Alright, well, while it's nice that the lens is sharp in the middle of its images, having soft image quality in the corners is a real problem on a wide-angle lens. In case you were wondering, the image quality was the same in my real-life pictures and in pictures taken focused to infinity as well. Anyway, let's bypass Fujifilm's automatic corrections and take some pictures in RAW to see about uncorrected distortion and vignetting. The lens is corrected quite well for distortion here, but vignetting is obviously huge at f1.8, as you can see. At f2.8, f4 and f5.6 we see improvement, but in RAW images you always get an edge of vignetting right in the corners. Next, close-up image quality, and the lens can focus down to a pretty decent 30cm to your subject. At f1.8 and f2, close-up image quality is pretty ghostly, but stop down to f2.8 and it sharpens up again. Let's see how well this lens works against bright light. Whoa, that flaring is pretty out of control, as you can see. It's bright, varied, opaque and abundant. What a shame. You will definitely want to use the lens's hood with this thing as much as possible. Stop down to f2.8 and it gets a bit more under control, but still, this is a major weakness. And how about coma smearing and sun stars? Over in the corners we see slightly strong coma smearing on bright points of light at f1.8, it's still there at f2, but at f2.8 it goes away. Let's move the camera over a little and look for sun stars. They begin to emerge at f5.6, as you can see here. At f8, f11 and f16 they get nicely defined and moderately strong too. Next, bokeh, and at f1.8 the lens can get you some quite noticeably out of focus backgrounds here, and I like this lens's bokeh. It's smooth and attractive, although we're definitely seeing quite a strong cat's eye shape to specular highlights in the image corners. And finally, related to bokeh comes longitudinal chromatic aberration. It's a little hard to see through the haziness at f1.8, but colour fringing on bokeh highlights is somewhat there. It's still there at f2 and f2.8, but at f4 it's mostly cleared up. In those images you will also have noticed some focus shift. The focus point goes backwards the more you stop down, something to be aware of if you're focusing manually. Alright then, well, this lens is astonishingly low priced, and for your money you get nice metallic build quality, good autofocus, and pretty enough images with soft bokeh, but the lens's Achilles heel obviously is sharpness. While resolution is high in the middle of your images, you have to stop all the way down to f8 to get any kind of sharpness in the corners at all, and on a wide-angle lens that's pretty undesirable. There are some real problems with flaring and vignetting too, although at least the vignetting is mostly hidden by in-camera corrections. So while the lens does have some capability, make it an okay choice for beginners or anyone else on a low budget, that corner softness means you'll soon be looking for something a little sharper. Okay, thanks for watching everyone. I hope you find these reviews helpful, and there are over 800 more on my channel right now. Check out my new playlist, which lists them all by camera mount, and if you want to support the work that I do here, then check out my Patreon page in the description below, where supporters get all kinds of exclusive bonus content and early access to reviews. Ciao for now, everyone.